Hi, and welcome to this presentation on Thinking About Psychology, 4th edition by Charlie Blair Broker and Randy Ernst. I'd like to say a few words about who we are. At BFW, we focus solely on advanced placement and key elective courses, like this one, psychology, unlike other publishers that you may deal with. If you teach AP Psychology, you may be familiar with our other text, Psychology for the AP course by Dave Myers. The BFW approach to developing our programs is centered around you, the teacher, because we recognize that giving teachers the right tools greatly impacts student learning and outcomes. We are committed to bringing you teacher-centered programs designed by the thoughtful and experienced high school authors you deserve, with the type of teacher resource support you long for, the student materials and digital platforms you need, and the professional development and implementation support you deserve. Today we're going to be talking about the book's authors, the student edition, the teacher resource package, our digital platform, and professional development and implementation support. It's important to know that this book was written by high school psych teachers specifically for the high school psych course. It's not a watered-down college book. Now let's talk about those authors. Charlie Blair Broker teaches part-time at Hawkeye Community College in Iowa. He has 38 years of experience in the high school classroom. He was on the committee along with Randy Ernst, who authored the first set of national standards. They both continue to be invested in and closely involved in the standards development today. He was an officer in the Teachers of Psychology in Secondary Schools, or TOPS, for 6 years. TOPS actually dedicated an award to him, called the Charlie Blair Broker Excellence in Teaching Award. In 2014, Charlie received an APA Presidential Citation for exemplary efforts to promote high-quality instruction of and professionalism in teaching high school psychology. Charlie is also involved in AP Psychology, having been a test developer, question leader, rubric master, table leader, and reader for the exam since it was first administered in 1992. Randy Ernst teaches at Nebraska Wesleyan University. He has 16 years of experience in the high school classroom at Lincoln Schools in Nebraska. He also was an officer in the TOPS organization for 6 years. In 2017, he received an APA Presidential Citation for pioneering leadership of modern-day pedagogy of psychology, and he's won numerous teaching awards. Like Charlie, Randy is also heavily involved in the College Board and the AP exam, serving as a table leader, question leader, exam leader, and he's been on the AP Test Development Committee. In 2017, the APA hosted a summit on teaching high school psychology, and our authors were there. Several important outcomes came from that meeting, one being that psychology is a science and should be reflected as such in course materials. Those outcomes are reflected in this 4th edition, including the inclusion of our psychology labs and other features. So let's talk about the student edition. The book interests students with its engaging and conversational tone. It reflects up-to-date DSM-5 content and research, and it truly does emphasize psychology as a science. The textbook is organized broadly by the 7 domains used by the American Psychological Association, and then broken down into bite-sized modules, which are then organized by learning goals. The modules are equivalent to lessons. Each of the lessons are designed to be taught in 1 to 2-day class periods. The modular structure helps you more easily organize and plan your course and helps students stay on track with daily assignments. The modular organization also allows for more flexibility to teach the material in whatever order best suits your teaching style and classroom needs. If you haven't used the modular book before, you're in for quite a treat, as we received astounding numbers of compliments on the ease of teaching with this approach. The book opens with Module 1, which explains the reasoning behind the organization of the text. Now let's take a walk through the ebook. Here you can see the Teacher's Edition ebook, and in the middle is the Student Edition. On the margins, you'll see teaching tips, activities, and so forth for you, the teacher. This is Domain 5 on cognition. You can see that there are 4 modules within this domain. This is the first module, Module 23. You can see the learning goals are listed here. And you can see a graphic of one of the authors who wrote this module and a short story to get them started. Off to the right, again, you can see teacher tips and activities and a link to the resources that you need for this activity. Also in the margin for students is a running glossary. Again, more teaching tips. Here we run into one of the first learning goals spelled out in this section, and we can also see the Life Matters feature in the margin that brings additional focus to specific content on this page that, by demonstrating its relevance to students' lives. On the next page, again, we can see another Life Matters box, more glossary terms, and then a key figure biography that's a brief introduction to the most important psychologists and theorists discussed in the text. Here we can see a positive psychology tip that's found throughout the text that gives students tips on how to live and work at their optimum performance level, and it's denoted by this icon. You can also see another Life Matters box. Following that, you can see a Make It Stick questions. These are at the end of each learning goal, and they're quick questions to test the student's knowledge of the material that they just read, and it also helps them identify what they've mastered and what they need to review. Here's an example of the Thinking Like a Psychological Scientist box. These show how scientific methods are applied to topics in psychology, again, highlighting the fact that psychology is a science. At the end of each module, you'll find a summary box that has the learning goals and the important points from each of the sections, as well as 10 questions, multiple choice, from all the content from the module, and a list of key terms and people. Note that in the appendix, we have a section on careers in psychology, we have answers to the summative assessment questions, and an English-Spanish glossary. Now I want to mention that the ebook is part of our digital platform called LaunchPad. LaunchPad has three main components. It has an interactive and downloadable ebook, it has resources for both students and teachers, and it has quizzing. Note that it's compatible with most LMS and rostering systems. So let's take a look. So here we are at the main page of LaunchPad. As I mentioned, it has three main components. Let's take a look at those components, starting with the ebook. The ebook is available to be read online or offline. You and your students can download it on up to 4 devices, and so the book can be read at any time without having to be connected to the internet. The ebook is interactive, so you can make highlights and notes very easily. Simply scroll over, click a highlighter, and there's your highlight. If you want to add a note, simply find the spot where you want to put it, click on Add Note, save it, and it saves it off to the side. It also saves it in an annotation workbook, so any highlights and notes that were made are collected here, and it serves as sort of like a study guide. The book also has a read aloud feature. Simply click play and it will read aloud to you. So with this ebook, your students can have access to the textbook at all times with the ability to make the reading experience customized and interactive. It really is a great resource. The teacher's edition is also available in ebook form with the same functionality that I just described. It matches the print teacher's edition, but with the added feature of the embedded teacher resource materials at point of use that you can quickly get to with a click of a button. So anywhere you see a TRM icon, you simply click on it, and the resource opens up at point of use. So this really saves you time. Now let's look at the resources. For students, there's many resources as well, including flashcards in English and Spanish, PsychSim interactive simulation software, Learning Curve formative assessment to help students learn the material, and more. For teachers, you'll find editable PowerPoints, pacing guides, activity handouts, and more. And as I mentioned, they're embedded at point of use in the ebook, but they're also all collected here. Let's look at some of those resources. Here's Learning Curve. Learning Curve is an adaptive formative assessment to help students learn the material. They're trying to get to the end of the progress bar when they'll get full credit in the gradebook. They simply pick on an answer, they got it correct or incorrect, and they try again. And when they get it correct, they move along the progress bar. And you can see I'm making progress here. But a nice feature of this is if they get it wrong or they're confused, they can click on Read the ebook page, and the ebook page will open up where they can read the book and try to find the answer and go back to answering the question. So it's a nice way to get students to read the book if they haven't read it already. As I said, it's adaptive and students work at their own pace. There are other resources like labs, as I mentioned earlier in the presentation. So we have a lab for every domain that you can use with students, flashcards, the PsychSim, and so forth. Finally, you have the ability to quickly and easily create quizzes and tests that auto-grade and record in the gradebook. Simply use one of our pre-made assessments or create your own quiz using our quiz builder. There are more features and functionality here, but those are the main points to know about the program. Again, this is everything you need in one place with the ability to easily access the ebook, the resources, and to create assignments. It's a great time saver for you and a great tool to help students learn the material. Now let's talk about the Teacher Resource Package, which includes an annotated teacher's edition in print and ebook, teacher resources, and an ExamView test bank. Note that these are complementary with the purchase of a class set. Let's talk a little bit about the Teacher's Edition. We're excited to have a distinguished Teacher's Edition author in Liz Hammer. Liz is a professor at Xavier University in Louisiana, and she's the director of the Center for Teaching and Learning there, where they teach teachers how to teach. She's a former AP Psychology chief reader. She also authors the Teacher's Edition of Myers Psychology for the AP course. In the Teacher's Edition, she offers extensive advice on teaching each domain and module and answers all the questions in the student text. Included in the teacher resource materials are the labs, and there are one per domain. And you can see here there's a lab exercise. It gives you the topic, the rationale, the key takeaways, the materials that are needed, the method, and so forth. In addition to that, we have professional development videos for teachers, pacing guides, lesson plans, editable lecture slides, activities and worksheet handouts, and more. We also offer a test bank with over 3,000 questions in both multiple choice and essay. We offer various ways to learn about our platform upon adoption. First, we offer live implementation training where we walk you through the components of the program. Second, we have a self-paced course store where you can learn about the material on your own time as independent study. And finally, we offer live one-on-one training with our customer experience team on our digital platform LaunchPad. Just go to our online scheduler to book a 60-minute session. Note that this service is free and open for the life of the adoption. You can come back for subsequent training and take as little or as much time within the 60 minutes as you need. So that's the story of thinking about psychology. Why is this book a great choice for your course? Well, to recap, this book was written by authors with decades of experience in the subject matter, who have been recognized with various awards for their excellence in teaching throughout the years, so you can rest easy. The flexible modular format makes pacing easier for you and reading more manageable for your students. The book treats psychology as a science, which is reflected in the pages of the book and more explicitly emphasized through the inclusion of labs, one per domain, that will help your students think like scientists using the scientific process. To support you, we have an excellent resource package, and our digital platform LaunchPad is your one-stop shop for all you and your students need for the course. We hope you find thinking about psychology to be the best choice for you and your students. Thanks for listening and considering our book. If you have any questions, please contact your sales representative.